Let's go to the phone lines and speak to your colleague who is also on the phone line. Ether Abu Ayim is a former SRC president, KNUST. He would obviously have interest in this matter. It's good to have you, Abu, on the show this morning.
Good morning, please.
You've been following the conversation, and your colleagues in the studio are making some legitimate points. What's your take in all the things that have been said with respect to the statement that came from your former institution's managers?
Okay, so thank you very much. I would agree with my colleagues on, uh, and then like they were saying, these are issues of mistrust and then distrust. Because come to think of it, um, uh, I don't seem to fathom why a student would come to school and then would pick up weapons to harm a fellow students when we all came to study. But then this whole issue when it started, um, personally, I had wanted to understand the perspective why council and management took the decision that they took, so that we can find, perhaps we can engage them and then find a lasting solution. But then you look at where management is coming from and you realize that it is a non-starter. I sent you a video 2 nights ago. The university relations officer on Joy News told us that there was a committee recommendation that had instructed management to what? Not to affiliate students to any of the traditional halls in KNUST. And what he said is true, because if you notice, from 2019 upwards, the current students in third years, none of them are affiliated to any of the traditional halls. But then, after the disturbance in 2018, there was only one committee that was set up, and it was set up by the chancellor of the university. It was set up by the chancellor of the university, and council, of which I was a member at that time, convened in September 2020 to adopt the committee report. So if the university relations officer is telling us on national TV that management implemented a report from the 2018 demonstration committee, what report is he talking about? Because I was a member and I've sent you the committee recommendations. None of them, you can find it nowhere in the recommendations that they should no longer affiliate students to any of the traditional halls. So you realize that management, and that is the problem that we have as student leaders. They take a decision, and then when you approach them, when you confront them, they tell you that that decision was taken in the previous administration. So if you have any problem, we had the students rep duly represented. So if you have any problem, you should go to your former student leader and then confront him on that. So that's why I sent you all the recommendation and the video and everything that you would need from the statement 2 days ago from the URO. And one thing that we want to make it clear is that we have had it, and then we are no longer going to take the manipulations, and management seems to bulldoze over students over minor issues. You will realize from the recommendation that in fact, it was council who were charged to what? If you read from the recommendation, they were rather charged to what? To crack the whip. And because they have failed, they want to push it down on the JCLCs.
Interesting.
And dissolve it in that process.
Now, following your thoughts, you seem to have the mindset that this is a backdoor approach to, control students' life on campus by their university's administrators.
Absolutely. Not only a backdoor approach, but it is also not, if you look at I don't think that what they are doing is also legal, because I know for a fact that there was no recommendation for them not to affiliate students to a hall. As far as I am concerned, I was a member of the council, and I am aware of the committee report. It didn't state that.
Now, if you say that this is an illegality that's being perpetuated on the students on campus, KNUST now does law, right? And so
Yes.
you would expect that there would be keen interest on the part of the law student body to ensure that these rights are not infringed upon. Do you see any interest in that regard?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we are looking at all options, and then if there is a need for us to take legal actions, we will do so. We will do so. We will go to court, and the university would come and then prove which recommendation from whatever committee instructed management to implement that policy.
Okay.
We will do that.
Okay. Now, in summing up our conversation, just a quick point that I want to pick your thoughts on. And this point has to do with morale on campus, because morale was a thing of the day. Cadet goes for morale, the sportsmen go for morale, and several others go for morale. I don't know whether the context of morale on campus has changed since my time. But what is morale and its ban on campus? What would it mean for students, life?
The morale ban actually targets the members of the two traditional halls in question. That is the University Hall and then the Unity Hall. And in fact, I will tell you what, I've sat in meetings in which management had wanted, during the COVID times, they had wanted to use COVID as a cover up to to ban students from engaging in morale. And I told them that that wasn't going to be possible, because there was no way that students would convene for SCC. There was no way that students would convene and lectures and all other activities. And then when it comes to morale, you will tell them that because of COVID, they cannot do that. So
Okay.
the intent is
Abu,
to... Yes.
I think that we are being unfair to our viewers and our listeners, because you and I understand what morale is. But we assume that our viewers and our listeners understand what morale is. Abu, what is morale?
I would say that morale is a jama in our local
jama.
Yes, jama, when mostly our black stars, when they are about to have a football match, is a way to motivate themselves. I mean, to keep their spirits high. I mean, so that they will feel the game, and that is what mostly the boys from the two halls do. Friday night, after a stressful week, they convene and then they sing songs, and then gospel, secular, and then when they get tired, they just go back to their various hostels and halls, and then that is it. So morale is not anything so strange that management should be worried about.
Does it in any way trigger some of these, processions or marches that we see on campus? Can a morale trigger people to leave the hall and say that, okay, throughout the whole hall,
Well, and that is what my colleagues on your platform said. If they want to go on procession, they make management aware. And then they are provided with security and the route that they are supposed to take. That is it. If they are having a normal morale, they can convene. But the moment they want to go on procession, they would have to make management aware, and everything that they do would have to be approved. That is it.
Abu, I will thank you for joining me this morning on the show and sharing your thoughts with us.